everyone, today I want to try and show you how to make a diamond easel fold card. Now this card folds flat for posting, and I've seen it quite a lot online, and so I want to show you how to make one. So although this shape looks a bit unusual, don't be put off, it's actually very easy. So all you will need is a square card blank. Okay, so this is a normal square card blank. Now this one is a 6x6 card blank. And sometimes you get 6x6 card blanks and they're not actually 6 inches. This one is. This measures 6 inches by 6 inches. Now if you haven't got a 6x6 card blank, you can get a 12x12 sheet of card and cut it in half, so you've got two 6x6 card blanks. What you want to do is obviously fold that in half so you've got your card blank. And then along this edge here, you want to measure and mark at 3 inches, and the same on these other two sides. You don't need to do the folded side, only the three cut edges. So you measure and mark at 3 inches. Then you want to go in and you're going to cut between those lines. So I'm just going to do it on here. I'm going to actually cut it on my guillotine. I'm just going to mark it so you can see where you're going to cut. So hopefully you can see that. So you're going to cut these two corners off. Now make sure that you leave your card blank shut when you cut it. If you open it up, you're making yourself twice the work. So I'm just going to cut this now. Cut these corners off. And obviously if you're doing twice the thickness, which I am here, you need to make sure your trimmer can cope with it. So you'll end up with that. Now what you want to do, and you can do this before you do the step you've just done, but I didn't, so there we go, is you want to score just one side from that mark down to that mark. So you want to score that in half. So let's get our bone folder out, and you're going to score down that mark there. Let me turn this round. I always struggle with this board. Right, where are we? There. And you're only doing it on the top. You're not scoring the bottom, you're only scoring the top section. So that's what you should end up with. What you want to do now is fold along that score line and just give it a good burnish. And so that is your easel part. That's the easel part of your card. Okay? So now what you want is you want to build up your layers. So you will need, now I've done, as on this one, I had my white card base, but I made it silver. I then had a pink one and a green one. Okay? So 3 layers. So I'm going to stick to 3 layers on here. I'm using the cream as my layer 1. Layer 2 will be gold because of the papers that I've chosen. And layer 3 will be a patterned paper. So what you need is you need 2 squares of whatever your version of gold is, whatever colour you're using, that are 4 inches by 4 inches square. So you need 4 by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 by 4 inch square. So you need 2 of those. There's my 2 squares. And then you need 2 squares of pattern paper. They don't have to be exact. I've gone for a pale with the design in the colour, and then the opposite of it, the negative of it. And this needs to be 3 3/4 square. So 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. Okay? So what you need to do now is stick that onto your gold square, or whatever colour square you're using. You can use double-sided tape, or you can use wet glue, whatever you want. I prefer to use wet glue just because I've got a bit of wiggle time. So take your square and stick it down like that. Same with this one. Like that. Now what you want to do is take your card base and you're going to choose which one you want on the bottom and which one you want on the top. I'm going to have that one on the top and I'm going to have this one on the bottom. So I'm going to put my top one to one side for now. So this is the one I'm going to have on the bottom. So you want to stick that in there like that, making sure you've got that border, the equal border at the bottom there. And you're going to stick that down. Like that. Now, with the top one, you're only going to stick it to this triangle. You're not going to stick it to the back because you want it to stand round so it'll stand up. Okay? Now, the other thing as well I would do is make sure that this crease line here, this fold line that you've got going along, dissects your two corners, your 2 points, okay? Which will then also make it easier for putting tape or glue or whatever you're going to put on the back. And I'm going to use tape for this bit just because I've got a line that I want to make sure I get a nice straight line. Another little tip, I tear my tape, I don't cut it because I don't like my scissors getting all sticky and messy. So when you put your tape down, I've got a little bit left over on the side there, but that's fine because all we do is peel the backing off and just tuck it over, and then that saves you from having to cut exactly the right size tape, and it also saves your scissors from getting all sticky. Right, and then we just do the other two edges. Like that. Now I've overlapped there, but again that doesn't matter because I'm going to peel that back. I'm going to peel back the front corner as well. This is another little tip. When you're using double-sided tape, if you peel off all the backing at once, you've then got a lot of stickiness to stick down. So what I do is I just peel back the ends of them and fold them back like that. So now all of this isn't sticky and that's not sticky. There's only these two parts that are sticky, which then means that when I'm sticking this down on here, I've got a lot of space to move it all around. Make sure I get it completely straight. Like that. And then all you need to do is take off your, just peel it off and it will stick down. Peel it off because you've really stuck it into position. There we go, that's that. Now what you need to do is you need to, so that's going to connect onto there like that eventually. So now you need a square that measures 3 inches by 3 inches. Okay, so let's do 3 by 3. And you need another piece, which is your pattern paper, which is 2.5 inches by 2.5. Now, don't stick that straight onto there, okay? You want to cut this in half diagonally. So I'm going to cut that in half diagonally, from corner to corner. So you end up with 2 triangles, and I'm going to do the same with this piece. There we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to stick that triangle onto there, and we're going to stick that triangle onto there. It's a lot easier if you have triangles that are right angle triangles. It's easier to make a square first and then cut it down the middle, rather than just trying to cut a triangle out of your paper. Especially if you need 2, just makes more sense, and usually for this sort of thing you do need more than one. Oh, bit of wiggle room. There we go, that's that one done. one down. Stick this one down, not cut it down. We've done that already. Right, now if you bring your card back in again, you open it up, these gaps here is where these are going to fit. And what I would do, so I would just try and make them so you've got a bit of a border. And like this, with this one here, obviously you can see I haven't got it at the top, so I would just give my border at the sides and this bit here. I wouldn't worry too much about that top bit because your card's going to come down, because at least then that's even. And that doesn't really matter because it's at the back of the card. So they need sticking down. And again, for this bit, I am going to use wet glue again because I will need wiggle room on this. Just to make sure it's in the right place. If you end up that your triangles are a little bit on the big side and you don't actually have that border, that's fine too, because on this one here I don't have that. Oh yeah, I do with that. But anyway, yeah, it doesn't matter. You could get away with it, it's fine. It's not the end of the world, put it that way. It's really not the end of the world because you've got the border anyway with the pattern paper, so it's not essential. The other way as well, if you find it easier, is you can put your triangles on and then stick this bit on, or lay them all down and then see what fits where. That's the other option of doing it. Right, it's about there. Now this bit here is overlapped, but I don't mind, that's fine because it's such a small amount. It doesn't bother me. So that's that bit done. So now all we need to do is cut some circles. So I have cut out, using nesting dies, a circle that is, now you guys are going to want measurements, aren't you? It's just a large scallop circle, but it measures 1, 2, 3, it's about 4, about 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, roughly. So I've cut one of those out, I've cut the next one down, which is this one, and this one measures 1, 2, 3, just over 3, maybe 3 1/8, but it just fits nicely in there. And then a smaller one out of pattern paper, and this one is 1, 2 1/2, and that's going to go in the middle. So you can go ahead and stick those together. And the same with the pattern paper. Stick that on the top. Like that. And then you need to choose something to go in the middle. So I chose, on this one, I went for the butterfly, which is out of the first edition. It's like a butterfly all-in-one die. It's got flowers and all sorts, and I've actually just taken that out of the die. But for this one, I decided to go for a flower die that I had. Could double up as a snowflake if you wanted, but I just thought that looked really pretty. So that's going to go in the middle. So I'm going to stick this down first, and it's going to go on the front here, and I'm going to put it on pads so it sticks up from the card. So I'm just going to use a bit of foam tape. Another little tip, which I'm not doing here, but just so you know, if you're cutting foam tape, you can end up with it all over your scissors. So a little tip is if you wipe your scissors with a baby wipe first, it won't then stick to your scissors. That's something that I learnt. from one of my fellow craft ladies, and it really does help because trying to clean a pair of scissors is quite hard, and you can end up cutting yourself, which I have done on many occasions. Right, so this is going to go here, like that. This is going to go on the top. I quite like to put it on a foam pad, I think. This is going to be too big, so I'm just going to use, I've got some smaller foam pads that are actually thinner as well, but they're probably perfect for this, because you don't want it popping off too much. You just want a bit of depth on it. So I'm going to use these, which are very small, and they're not that thick, they're just very thin ones as well. So I think that one of these is going to fit on the back of there. Yeah, just about. And it's not really going to give you much depth. You could add another one on top if you wanted to make it pop a bit more, but I'm happy with that. And then we need to stick that down nice and centrally. I hope my head's not getting in the way. Like that. And then just to finish it off, I'm going to put a pearl in the middle because I think it needs it. A kind of creamy pearl. That's what I'm using. These were from, I think these were from Poundland. The only problem is they have got a glue strip going, connecting them all together, so you kind of have to cut them before you stick them down. But they're great for £1. I'm happy. So we're going to stick that in the middle of our flower, like that. And then we just need the stopper. I'm just going to stop it from sliding. So I'm going to use one of these sentiments. These are great. I love these. I can't even remember where I got these from. But I know you can get them online. So I'm just going to use a happy birthday. Pop out a happy birthday. And I am going to, let's have a look. I'm going to put it on, I'm going to mount it onto an offcut of gold, just to make it stand out a little bit more. Like that. In fact, I might just mount it in the corner and cut it out, I think. So let's just add some tape to the back of that. And then I'm just going to cut round that. I don't feel like it pops enough on just the cream, and I'm going to just cut that. No, I'm going to go with the flow. I was going to go in a straight line, but I think I will actually follow the curve. And just leave a bit of a border. Like that. And then that will go on the foam tape that I've just put back in the drawer. There we go. I'm just going to do a little line of foam tape behind it. Like that. And then decide where we want to put it. Now I think I want it about, here. Make sure I've got it nice, and because I want it to open up kind of halfway. Yeah, so there we go. And so there you have your easel card, your pop-up easel card. So I told you it was simple, and it really is that simple. So hopefully you'll have a go with it, yeah, happy crafting.